Wellness Expo. We have today's presentation, and then tomorrow we'll have the cooking demonstration, and then our last presentation of the week is a financial wellness, helping get out of debt presentation. So I will introduce Matt, our speaker presenter for today. Matt Wappett is the Executive Director of the Utah State University Institute for Disability Research, Policy, and Practice. It's a new name, so it takes a little bit getting used to. With an affiliate appointment as a research associate professor in the College of Education and Human Services. He was formerly the co-director of University of Idaho Confucius Institute and had an affiliate faculty appointment as the clinical associate professor in the Department of Sociology. Basically, he's just really awesome and really smart, way smarter than me. So I have seen this presentation though before, and it's really great. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And without further ado, to the laughter doctor.
Doing a little rundown today, so my energy level's a little less than it typically is. Everybody hear me? Yeah, we're good? All right. Everyone online can hear? Okay, then I won't worry about a mic. So today we are going to talk a little bit about laughter. If you've seen this presentation before, I'm sorry. And if you haven't, well, this will all be good new information for you. I have cut out some of the stuff in order to focus on more practical things today. So we are going to be doing some exercises. So if you start to get bored and fall asleep, don't worry, I'm going to wake you up. And you are going to be doing some very weird things today. So just putting that out there so you can be nervous. So today we're going to talk about laughter, but before we talk about laughter, we need to talk about stress. So how many of you in here, and we can't see folks online, but how many of you in here at some point within the past week have said you were stressed? Good chunk, yeah. And even if you're not admitting it, you probably felt that stress. As you get older, that stress increases. And the perception of stress increases. And so learning how to manage stress is something that is incredibly beneficial. If we look at some statistics, I begin my presentation with this every single time. I begin with the assumption that everybody in the United States experiences chronic pervasive stress. And this has only increased since the COVID pandemic. So we are currently under unprecedented levels of stress. I promise I'm not going to bore you with too many statistics, but I will give you some here. The Gallup Global Emotions Poll, which is a poll they've done for the past 15 years looking at stress and mental health, shows that nearly 190 million people worldwide experienced higher stress levels in 2020 than in past years. 2020 was a sadder, angrier, more worried, more stressed out place than the world has been in the past 15 years, and 57% of workers in Canada and the US experience stress on an almost daily basis in their workplace. If we look at the American Psychological Association, who does an annual Stress in America survey, what they showed is that 84% of adults, that includes students, reported feeling at least one emotion associated with prolonged stress, with the major ones being anxiety, sadness, and anger. Then if you're a parent, nearly half of parents experienced higher stress levels over the past year than before the pandemic, primarily because kids were home. That stresses parents out a little bit. So essentially, we are living in a society right now that is experiencing higher levels of stress than at any point in the past, I don't know, maybe 50, 60, 70 years. I'm not going to go back to the Vietnam War and some of those where we may have, but we weren't measuring stress levels back then. But we have measured stress levels since the 1980s. And right now, the stress levels are higher than they ever have been. So what does this mean? Well, if we look at one of the authors of the American Psychological Association report, Dr. Wright said, we just weren't built to maintain this level of stress and hypervigilance and hyperarousal for this length of time. We're almost at a breaking point with so many stressors, with many of them out of our control. Now, when I start my presentation this way, people begin with the assumption that stress is bad. That's not entirely true. A few years ago, I had an opportunity to travel to India. Actually, it was more than a few years, about 12 years ago now. Had a chance to go to India and do some work there. It's one of the places where I learned to do laughter yoga. But we visited this guy, his name is Anurag Das. He's a potter. How many of you have done pottery, worked with clay? Okay, good handful. So you create the pot, right? Then you have to put it in the kiln and fire it. What is the purpose of firing pottery? To harden it, right? Makes it hard, makes it waterproof, kind of seals it in. What happens if it stays in the kiln too long? It cracks, right? It breaks. So you can't keep it in the kiln. It can't be in the kiln too short because then it's not going to be hard enough. You can't keep it in too long, otherwise it cracks and it breaks. So when we think about this as it applies to stress, Anurag Das said every pot of clay needs to pass through fire to get strong, and man's just another pot of clay. We all need stress in our lives. You need stress to get out of bed in the morning. You need stress to finish your homework. You need stress to go to your job, right? We need this little bit of stress through our lives in order to get things done. Stress makes us strong, productive, and hopefully contributing members of society. Unfortunately, we experience stress much more than we should. Stress, I like to say, is like a Big Mac, okay? One of them's good. 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row is not going to help you at all. In fact, it might actually kill you. So stress is good in small amounts. Unfortunately, most of us are experiencing stress in extremely large amounts. And as a result of that, we're experiencing the physiological effects of it on our bodies. Now, I'm not going to walk through those physiological effects because I decided today to focus more on doing things to help you manage stress. But there's a whole other part of this presentation where we look at all the things that stress does to your body, how it affects your brain and your heart and your lungs and your reproductive system and your digestive system. The fact of the matter is if we look across the board, stress, prolonged chronic stress, is actually toxic to your body and it is slowly killing you. So just know that in the back of your brain that chronic stress is really, really bad for you. And I'm going to hopefully give you some tools today to help you manage it. So, all right, you feeling good about life? Great. Okay. So stress is like a Big Mac. So what do we do about it when we've eaten one Big Mac and somebody's sitting there trying to shove 3 or 4 more down our face, right? We've got to have some tools in order to manage this so that we don't end up with 3 or 4 Big Macs killing us. So what we need to look at is how do people manage stress so well? There are people out there who manage stress just fine. And there are actual people who are researching how to manage stress. And so we do have some evidence that indicates that there are tools and things that we can do within our body to help us sort of come back to a state of equilibrium and balance out the stress response. When we look at our bodies, so if our bodies have a stress response, and if our bodies are subject to the laws of nature, it means they must also have an equal and opposite response, right? That's one of the first laws of physics. For every action is equal and opposite reaction. So if our bodies are physical, then they must also adhere to that. And thankfully they do. Our bodies have something built in called the relaxation response. How many of you have heard of the relaxation response? Nobody, right? You've all heard about stress. You've heard the term relaxation, but nobody's talked to you about the relaxation response because the relaxation response is not something that we value in our society. We value important, stressed out people. Think about it. The jobs that you want to do when you grow up, the heroes that we see on television and everything else are stressed out people doing high stress things, and those are the important people that we aspire to. Unfortunately, they're also dying very early. In fact, we look at one of the first studies on stress was done on Wall Street traders back in the 1980s. And what they looked at was these guys who were working, and they were primarily guys back in the 80s who were working on Wall Street. the longer that they were within that climate, the more and more their bodies broke down. And many of these guys, after 4 or 5 years, had autoimmune diseases, had expressed other genetic conditions within their bodies, and in fact, their telomeres, and the telomeres are the ends of your chromosomes, right? Their telomeres had actually shortened. You can look at your telomeres, you can take your genetic material, you can look at your chromosome, you can look at the telomeres at the end of your chromosomes. They're kind of like the little plastic caps on the end of your shoelaces that keep your shoelaces from unraveling. Your life expectancy is directly correlated with the length of your telomeres. So we can actually guess pretty well how long you'll live by looking at your telomeres. And people who experience chronic pervasive stress have shorter telomeres, which means that you are literally shortening your lifespan when you are under these high stress situations. So nobody teaches you about the relaxation response. The relaxation response was discovered in the early 70s by a doctor, a cardiologist at Harvard Medical School, Herbert Benson. Herbert Benson was doing research on high blood pressure in monkeys and was working with pharmaceutical companies to look at drugs that would bring blood pressure down, because high blood pressure is one of the things that happens when you're stressed out. The same time, there was a movement. There were people who were going to India and coming back. The Beatles were one of them, right? The Beatles went to India, came back, recorded the White Album. Not sure how many of you are rock and roll historians or anything. Okay, maybe the Beatles is getting a little too old for this audience. But they came back, and one of the things that came back from India with the Beatles and these other people who had gone over sort of on these New Age quests was this idea of meditation, transcendental meditation. And so Herbert Benson's working at Harvard Medical School on monkeys, and these students at Harvard come back from India, spending the summer in India, and they say, we can lower our blood pressure without drugs. And Herbert Benson was fascinated because a lot of blood pressure drugs are actually pretty bad for your body. So he said, okay, come on in. So he brought them into the lab, he ran them through a stress test, and then he had them sit down and show that they could lower their blood pressure. And sure enough, within about 5 minutes, these students who would sit down and do transcendental meditation could lower their blood pressure, their pulse rate, their respiration rate. They could actually slow down their brain waves so they're more even. They were able to completely change the physiological makeup of their body by merely sitting down, taking some deep breaths, and focusing. And this really interested Herbert Benson. And he said, I wonder what's behind this. And he ended up dedicating his whole life to studying what he ended up calling the relaxation response. So he traveled all over the world. He traveled to Tibet and China and Europe and studied all these different populations of people who had long lives. But what was it within their lives that helped them live so long? And what he found is that everybody who had this longevity engaged in some activity that induced the relaxation response regularly. So the question is, what is the relaxation response? You know, we know, so meditation does it. What else induces the relaxation response? Well, as Herbert Benson traveled around, he looked at all these activities, he figured out that the relaxation response has 2 steps. Wow, that's kind of weird up there. Okay, so he found there's 2 steps. Number 1 is the repetition of a word, sound, thought, phrase, or muscular activity. And number 2 is the passive return to that repetition when other thoughts intrude. Okay? So if you've done mindfulness meditation, which over the past 5 years has become super hip, you know that mindfulness meditation means sitting there focusing on your breath, and as your mind wanders, you bring your attention back to your breath, right? But there's a lot of other things that induce the relaxation response. It doesn't have to be just sitting there. Running is a repetitive activity. Running where you're in the moment. If you've ever gone running or done other physical exercise and felt sort of that high, that runner's high, that is the relaxation response kicking in your body. So running, dancing, yoga, rowing, fishing, crocheting, knitting, they did stuff on people who hook carpets, right? So a repetitive activity. Anything that has a repetitive action to it can actually induce the relaxation response. And what it does is it turns our brain off and it gets our brain to focus on the present moment so that we can say, okay, I'm here, I'm okay, there's no danger, I can relax. A lot of our stress actually comes from not living in the present moment. A lot of our stress comes from thinking about how bad things are going to be in the future or thinking about how bad things were in the past, right? So you can stress yourself out right now. You could think about the homework that you haven't done for your class this afternoon. And your stress level, your heart rate, everything's going to go up a little bit. Maybe you're not prone to that kind of stress. You can think about a fight you had with a roommate or with a family member last week. It can cause your stress level to go up. But all of these are things that take us out of the present moment. And so the relaxation response, by doing something repetitive, and again, singing, anything that has a repetitive aspect to it that brings us to this present moment, turns our brain off and says, okay, you're okay. And so when we look at this, and this has been proven over and over and over again in countless studies, what happens during the relaxation response? Heart rate decreases, blood pressure decreases, respiratory rate decreases, oxygen consumption decreases, your muscle tension, your muscles relax because you're not amped up and ready to do something. Your slow brain waves increase. You tend to perceive things as being less stressful, and you're less reactive. Means you're a little more thoughtful in how you respond to things that come your way. If you've ever been stressed out and somebody comes to you, you have occasionally have a tendency to be mean, right? Because we snap. We're kind of at our breaking point. Somebody brings you one more thing, and you say something that you regret or whatever. Dealing with that stress allows us to be more thoughtful, more kind, to pay attention, and to actually be more productive members of society. So, what I want to do with you is introduce you to the relaxation response before we talk about laughter, because laughter is one way of accessing the relaxation response. But I want to practice a sitting. There's two ways really to get to the relaxation response. There's a sitting way where you can sit and be calm, and you can use your brain to calm your body. And then there's a more active way where you can use your body to calm your brain. It works both ways. Laughter uses our body to calm our brain. Sitting uses our brain to calm our body. So I'm going to teach you both ways a little bit. And then we're going to go from there. So what I want you to do is we're going to take about 10 minutes here. And I'm going to ask you to sit upright in your chairs. I'm going to ask you to put both feet on the floor. Okay? Try not to get crossed up. Do whatever you need to do to be comfortable, but don't be crossed up or anything else like this. This is a way of protecting ourselves, and if we can open ourselves up, it helps our body relax. So as you sit here, we're going to begin the process of calming your body, okay? We're going to start to quiet the noise of your mind. We're halfway through the day here. You've already been going, and we're just going to allow our bodies to relax and come back into a state of equilibrium. So whenever you're ready, I want you to take a few moments, get as comfortable as you can in your chair, back straight, arms and legs uncrossed, feet on the floor, hands resting gently in your lap, okay? You can move around however you need to feel comfortable, but when you get as comfortable as you can, I want you to just let go of any unnecessary tension and allow yourself to relax. And if you're comfortable doing this, close your eyes, okay? So sitting there and close your eyes. Whenever you're ready, begin by taking in a comfortable, deep, easy breath. Hold it a few seconds, and then let it go. Take in another deep, easy, refreshing breath. Hold it, and then let it go. And take in one more easy, deep breath. Hold it again, and then let it go. Now just allow your breathing to return to its normal pace. Breathing in, breathing out. And you may begin to notice that with every easy out breath, you can become even more comfortable in your chair. In order to recognize tension in our body and then to let it go, it's easiest to focus on one part of our body at a time. So begin now to focus your attention on the muscles of your forehead. Maybe move your eyebrows a little to get in touch with that part of your face. Muscles of your forehead, little space between your eyebrows. Allow those muscles to become soft and smooth. And then moving down your face, become aware of your eyelids. Allow them to become comfortably heavy and still. Notice your cheeks, your jaw, your chin. Allow the little hinge of your jaw to just let go. Now this feeling of letting go can move down into the muscles of your neck and shoulders. Take in another easy breath, and as you exhale, just allow the tension to roll off the tips of your shoulders. Let your shoulders fall. Continue to follow the rhythm of your breathing, noticing that your body rises gently on the in-breath and settles down quietly on the out-breath. Breathing in, breathing out. And whenever a thought comes into your mind, simply notice that thought and then return your focus to your out-breath. Or if it's easier, you can repeat a soothing word quietly to yourself on the out-breath. You'll find that as you focus on your breath or that word, that your thoughts will pass. So I want you to now bring your attention to your arms, your upper arms, your lower arms, hands, thumbs, fingers. As you relax, your arms may feel a little heavy. Your hands may feel warm and tingly. You might even notice your heartbeat in the palms of your hands. Now become aware of your back. Feeling your back against the chair. Wherever you're holding on to tension in the muscles of your back, breathe into that place. And as you exhale, let that tension go. And now, beginning with your neck, allow the muscles of your neck and back to relax. Vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down to your tailbone. So that now the entire top half of your body can enjoy the benefits of this relaxation. Just notice the chair supporting your body, supporting you comfortably, securely. There's nothing for you to be concerned about at this moment in time. There's no work for you to do right now. If your mind wanders, just come back to your out-breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And allow this feeling of relaxation to pass over you like a wave, down into the lower half of your body, your hips, your upper legs, your knees, the back of your knees, your lower legs, your ankles, feet, and toes, feeling your feet against the floor. So that now from the top of your head, all the way down to your toes, all of your muscles, as well as your mind, can enjoy the benefits of this relaxation. This is a time to simply be. And however you feel right now is just fine. every out breath, you can feel those sensations that mean relaxation for you. In a moment, this relaxation exercise will come to an end, but you can hold on to these feelings of relaxation for as long as you need, knowing that you can return to this peaceful state whenever you wish, simply by closing your eyes, taking those 3 easy breaths, holding each breath for a few seconds, and then letting it go. In a moment, I will count backwards from 3 to 1. And when I get to 1, slowly open your eyes and come back to the room, feeling calm, peaceful, refreshed, alert, proud of yourself that you're able to do this. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Is that weird? It's always weird to sit in a room with people and do that. But the fact is, you're not doing anything. You did nothing. But we're so self-conscious about relaxing in the presence of others. But just during that time, your body, whether you were able to do it the full time and actually take full benefit from it or not, your body had a chance to stop, to recover, and to come back to a state of equilibrium. Whether you were able to do it for the full, that was about 7 minutes, your body started to reabsorb cortisol and adrenaline. Your body started to release serotonin and dopamine. Started to do things that are going to help you. Even though you don't feel it now, you do feel the benefits of this as you do it more and more. Just like stress, the more and more stress you have, it sort of compounds its consequences. The same with relaxation. The more we do it, it compounds and it becomes more and more evident in our lives. So that was using your brain to calm your body. Now let's talk about using your body to calm your brain. Because everyone's here to laugh, right? Maybe sympathetically, now it gets weird. Okay, let's go on to laughter. I talked about that. So what about laughter? Laughter is one way to manage your stress. Laughter is a natural response in our body. Unfortunately, in our culture, we've been taught to not laugh. As you get older and older, we laugh less and less because it is not seen as being adult, grown up, appropriate, whatever the case may be. The fact is that laughter is healthy. If we look at studies of laughter, at least back in 2009 when Stream did a meta-analysis, there's no negative outcomes from laughter and using laughter as an intervention. So the question is, however, what is laughter? Any of you thought about that? Do animals laugh? Yeah, I see a couple of nodding heads, maybe. Yeah. Animals do laugh. This is your tax dollars at work, so when you get older. There are studies of laughter in rats, mice, monkeys, dogs, cats, wolves. Trying to think what other herd animals. Deer, elk. Most mammals, dolphins. Most mammals that are social laugh. Except it doesn't sound like laughter to us. In mammals, laughter is called chuffing. And chuffing is used within mammals to signal social acceptance, to signal that you're safe. So I have pictures of polar bears here. I grew up in Alaska, and we would go to, I had friends who lived in Utqiagvik, which used to be called Barrow on the north part of Alaska. And polar bears live up there. And so they go out and hunt the whales. The natives from the village there would go out and hunt the whales and bring them in, and they drag them up on shore, and they butcher them on the beach there. And then these large whales, it takes days to kind of butcher them, and the polar bears come out, and the polar bears like to scavenge from the whale carcasses there on the beach. And polar bears are solitary animals. Polar bears don't like they have huge territories because they don't like to be together. And when they come together with these, where the whales are on the beach, they have to signal safety. So when you're sitting there, you see two polar bears walking down the street. They literally are just walking down the street in the village and coming together. And when they come together, they do one of two things in most cases. First of all, they can grunt and pop their jaws. So they open their jaws and they pop the hinge in them, which is a threatening display. Or they chuff. And chuffing is a loud exhalation. And chuffing sounds more aggressive. Chuffing sounds scarier than popping your jaws. But chuffing is really their laughter. And essentially what the bear is saying is, I'm okay with you. If the other bear chuffs, the other bear says, oh, I'm okay with you too. And they kind of pass each other on the street. And everyone's really disappointed that there's not a bear fight. But all animals do this. It's used within herd animals. I don't know how many of you hunt. But if you go and hunt elk or deer or anything, caribou where I grew up, herd animals, when they're out grazing, they're all grazing, but there's one or two watch animals, right, that are looking out for danger. And when there's danger, they make a high-pitched sound, and the entire herd, almost on cue, lifts their head up, right? They hear that danger alert, and everyone kind of gets on edge, ready to respond. But when the danger passes, those watch animals chuff. We don't really hear this as much. And the herd, almost on cue, goes back to eating and doing it. That chuff, they hear that and they say, oh, it's safe. I can go back to doing what I was doing. I don't need to be on alert anymore. So chuffing helps animals relax and feel safe. So if we look at studies of laughter, so humans laugh, humans chuff, that's our laughter. And so researchers speculate that laughter would have been used on an evolutionary level to help us cooperate and create social bonds, especially across language barriers. You can laugh with somebody and you'll know that you're safe with them, even if you don't speak the same language. Martin Seligman, who's the father of positive psychology, says that laughter and singing and smiling tune the group emotionally. They get them on the same wavelength so they can work more effectively as a group. So when we laugh, and you know this, when you laugh with somebody, you have a different connection with them. And there is a reason for that. So when we look, I'm going to go through the science here really fast so we can laugh. A few things laughter does. And again, this is your tax dollars at work. You can study laughter. It's called gelotology. It is an actual field. There are laughter labs. So this is a great place to go. They have a lab at Harvard Medical School that studies laughter. When we look at these studies of laughter, first of all, laughter promotes cardiovascular health. Laughing actually helps you build aerobic capacity. And they're using laughter within old folks' homes, assisted living facilities, to help them build that aerobic capacity and get exercise without doing high-impact aerobics like running or walking or something like that. So, laughter promotes cardiovascular health. Laughter strengthens our immune system. So when we laugh, our immune system comes back into balance. They've been shown, these are, again, terrible studies where they take people with cancer who have suppressed immune systems. They take one group and put them in a room and have them watch a stressful movie. Take another group, put them in another room, have them watch a funny movie. They bring them out, they take their blood, and they look at their immune system. People who have laughed have a boosted immune system. They are stronger, and they have a lessened perception of pain. Actually, back in the 1960s, Norman Cousins wrote a book called The Anatomy of an Illness, where he got a chronic illness, and he quit his job, locked himself in a hotel room, and essentially laughed him his way back to health. And he talks about how he would wake up in the night in excruciating pain, and he would turn on, at that point it was a Marx Brothers movie, he liked black and white, this was the 60s. And he would laugh he'd watch about a 2-hour thing of movies and laugh, and he would say it would give him another 3 hours of pain-free sleep. So laughter releases opiates, actually, that helps us manage our pain perception. What else does laughter do? So it releases endorphins, feel-good hormones. It releases serotonin and dopamine. Those are the things that antidepressants actually address in your body. What do antidepressants do? SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, actually make it so your body doesn't absorb your serotonin as quickly, so you have more of it in your system. Laughter actually helps you release more serotonin. into your system. So it creates these positive states of mind. It also decreases adrenaline and cortisol secretions, which are the stress hormone. And laughter has been shown to promote attachment and bonding. Laughter releases a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is also called the trust hormone. Oxytocin is what is released when a mother is nursing her newborn child, creates the mother-child bond. Oxytocin is released during sex. It creates a chemical connection between people. Laughter also causes us to secrete oxytocin, which is why when you have laughed genuinely with another person, you feel connected to them because you have literally created a chemical connection. You trust that person on a deep chemical level. So, okay, so essentially, that's laughter. Laughter switches on all the systems that stress switches off, which means that we should laugh more. So I'm going to demonstrate, let me check my time here, perfect. I'm going to demonstrate that we all laugh. So I'm hoping the sound works, and I'm hoping the sound works here. Okay, I'm going to show you the funny guy, Anderson Cooper. Ready? Anderson Cooper.
Buffalo, the biggest day capital of the world. Actually, the birthplace of the chicken wing. Little known fact. They've been celebrating Dingus Day there since the 1800s, but apparently, it really took off in the 1960s. It caught on because, for a number of reasons. Dingus, first of all, is a funny word. It's spelled with a Y. People don't know what it means. It's funny because it's spelled with a Y. What does it mean anyway? My new favorite reference spot. That would be dingusdaybuffalo.com says dingus can be traced back to a medieval word meaning worthy, proper, or suitable. And here's how you celebrate Dingus Day.
The quirky little rituals include boys sprinkling girls that they fancy with water, and the girls striking back with a tap from a pussy willow branch.
I'm not gonna let you do this. Sorry. It's really so stupid. Torture. Let it out. I know, it sounds like a bunch of waterlogged drunk people hitting each other with sticks, and then of course there's the drinking, dancing, and music, and more drinking. There's really ain't no party like a Dingus Day party, because a Dingus Day party is the most random excuse to drink there is.
There we go. I found that even if you didn't laugh, most people
Buffalo.
say, no, go away. Okay, we've heard you. There we go. Most people smile or at least laugh at that. When we hear laughter, we relax. We don't even have to laugh ourselves. This is one of the reasons why they put laugh tracks on sitcoms and things, because it helps you relax. That's why watching a stupid sitcom that is actually not really that funny at all feels good in many cases, because the laugh track that you hear is playing a psychological trick on you, telling you you're safe, these are your people, it's all good, and as you hear that laughter, you relax. We knew this a long time ago. Some of the first records ever made when they came out with the phonograph were records of people laughing, because people enjoyed listening to that, because it helps us feel good. Unfortunately, we've kind of gotten away from that in our culture. And we don't, we laugh, but many times we don't laugh at the right times, and we don't laugh enough. Kids laugh several hundred times a day. Adults laugh maybe 2 to 5 times a day, if that. Many adults go days without laughing. That's really scary. There's a natural response that's intended to help you manage stress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a little bit of laughter yoga here. So laughter yoga is a thing, and it was I'll say invented by Madan Kataria. He was a doctor in India. He was doing research on laughter. He saw that it was good, and he said we should be laughing more. And so he went to the park with a bunch of friends, and they sat around telling jokes. And eventually that worked for a bit until somebody tells that joke that pisses somebody off, and then somebody's not laughing. And so he went back to the drawing board, and he found that we don't necessarily need humor to laugh, because laughter is a natural response. We can use fake laughter, and it becomes real laughter. That is why when you heard Anderson Cooper there, many of you started to laugh, because when we hear laughter, we respond with laughter. So what Madan Kataria did is he said, okay, we're going to use fake laughter, and fake laughter will then turn to real laughter. You get the benefits of it. So he developed a bunch of silly exercises, and that is literally what it is, silly exercises, to get people to start laughing. So in a laughter yoga session, we'll typically take 30 minutes, do these silly exercises, and then end with a laughter meditation. We're not going to do a full session here today, but I'm going to introduce you to some of these exercises. So, okay, so laughter yoga. I should put the disclaimer out there, you don't have to do this if you don't want, but I would highly encourage you to, because if I'm up here looking dumb, I want others to look dumb with me. So, I've gotten very used to looking dumb. Okay, so here we go. What we do with the laughter yoga session is we start with clapping. It's called Calcutta clapping, and we're going to go like this. Oh, oh, ha, ha, oh, oh, ha, ha, oh, oh, ha, ha, oh, oh, ha, ha. You all look very skeptical. Are you ready? Okay, let's try it. Ho, ho, ha, 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 oh, oh, ha, ha, oh, oh, ha, ha, oh, oh, ha, ha. After we've done that, we go, very good, yay! You ready? All right, let's do it. Very good, yay! Perfect, okay. We're going to be doing that in between exercises here. So, the first thing that we need to do is we need to turn ourselves on. Right? But, I know. Terrible too. We have laughter motors. Laughter lives in different parts of our body. The hose live here. I know. The ahs live here. The he's live somewhere up in here. We're going to take a key. We are going to put it in our belly. You are going to do this as well. And your laughter motor is cold. So you're going to turn it and you're going to go ho. Good. Good job. Then you're going to turn it again and go ho ho. Ho. Then you turn it again and go ho ho ho. Ho. Now you turn yourself on. And are you ready? Turn yourself on. Take your key. You put it in your chest and go ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Turn yourself on. Take your key, put it in your neck. He. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ho, ho, ha, ho, ho, ha, ho, ho, ha. Very good, yay! Perfect. You're good, I'm impressed. Very good, yay. Go watch the TED Talk by Amy Cuddy from Harvard Business School about power posing. I know the research on it's controversial, but there is something to be said about spreading your body out and making it big. It actually helps you relax. Okay, so this is what laughter yoga is. It's doing really stupid things like this. And then, yeah, so let's do one more. I know we're almost, are we almost at time? You're good. Oh no, we have plenty of time. Okay, we have 5 more minutes. Okay, we're gonna do a few more. We're gonna use our fingertips. If you've seen me do this, we've done this before. You're gonna take your fingertips and you're gonna go ho. And go ho ho. Ho ho ho. Ho 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 ho. Ho 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 ho. Okay, now you're gonna go all the way through. You're gonna go ho 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 ho. Okay, you ready? Ha ha all the way through. All the way through. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ho, ho, ha, ho, ho, ha, ho, ho, ha. Very good, very good, yay! Okay, are you starting to feel a little warmer? Yeah, laughter warms up your body. And literally, laughter is very much like aerobic exercise, even fake laughter. It helps increase your circulation. It is really, really good for your cardiovascular system. It's one of the things that I think overlook. Now, this is what laughter yoga is. We do stupid things, and then eventually at the end, we lay down on the floor and laugh for 10 minutes. The whole idea is to get your laughter warmed up so that you can do that. Now, you can't do laughter yoga every day. You can go online, and you can find, just type in laughter yoga on YouTube, you can find hundreds of people who do it, and you can do stupid things at your computer with other crazy people. But you can do it on your own, too. We don't need to be in a group to laugh. In fact, many of us should be laughing more on our own. In fact, before I come to a presentation like this, I like to go in the bathroom and just laugh. People in the stall next to me. No, actually, I don't do that. I do it in my office. But I do laugh at the airport, though. So when I fly, and I haven't flown as much since COVID, which has been good, but I'm a big guy, and flying actually creates an incredible amount of anxiety for me. And so when I go to the airport, check in, go through luggage and everything, and I'm sitting at the gate, before I get on the plane, I like to laugh. Now, if I am there at the gate, sitting with my stuff, like this, and they announce my flight, and I say, okay, I gotta laugh. I start laughing. They're not gonna let me on the plane, right? I'm just a crazy guy. So we all have these miraculous devices. The best thing ever invented was the phone. I can sit in that same place at the gate. I can't believe it. Totally safe, right? Totally safe. You've got to hope nobody calls you. Phones are remarkable devices. You can sit in your car and laugh. You can laugh at any time. The fact is that we need to laugh more. It is really, really good for our bodies. Now, I want to end with Finn and Jake. So let's see. We did. Let's skip that one. So this is how we typically end a laughter yoga session. We do this, and we literally lay on the ground together and laugh in a circle. It is the most delightful thing you've probably ever done in your entire life. Unfortunately, we can't really do that here. But at some point in the spring, when we can all get together again, larger groups, yeah, doing this outside is a lovely way a laughter yoga session. What I do want to end with, however, is the fact that many of you are uncomfortable doing this, right? Oh, that's me. That was my glitter beard. I'm supposed to be somewhere else in this presentation. It got moved around. Many of us were uncomfortable doing this. Why? Because we have been trained not to laugh. We've been trained as we get older, we're supposed to become more serious, we're supposed to become adults. We're supposed to become all these things. And so we suck at laughing. But as Jake said to Finn, one of my favorite episodes of Adventure Time, dude, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. We need to practice laughing more. It's good for you. It will change your life. It has changed my life. And I would encourage you to, take some time out of every day to laugh some more. So anyway, with that said, I have saved a little bit of time here for questions. Does anybody have any questions? Why are you talking? Yes. My definition of stress. Well, so the technical definition of stress, and there is an actual physiological definition of stress, is the fight or flight response, right? Stress in our body is the fight or flight response. We say it's stress, but what happens, and these are a bunch of the slides that I took out, when we feel stress, we're feeling the same thing as an elk that's getting chased by a moose, or by a moose? Elk not getting chased by a moose. An elk getting chased by a wolf. That's what I meant. Or I would pay money to see an elk getting chased by a moose. That would be fun. But yeah, the technical definition of stress is the fight or flight response. So any animal that feels that, you feel that same thing. Unfortunately, animals are usually running away from something, right? And trying to survive. Most of us are sitting at our desk, right? Feeling those same, our heart rate's up, our muscles are tense, we're all ready for a big expenditure of energy, but we don't do anything because we're not actually in physical danger, but our body responds the same way. So that is the actual definition of stress. Does that help? Maybe? Cool. Okay, other questions? Yes.
So you talked about fake laughing
Yes.
versus real laughing.
Mhm.
The research supports that there is benefit, but does it have the same potency? Does that make sense?
No. So yeah, laughter is very dose respondent, meaning the more that you do, the more you get from it. And it has to be genuine, what would you call it? Gut busting belly laughter. Yeah, doing the mean laugh, right? Doing silly little laughs, more social laughing isn't really what we're talking about. When we're talking about laughing, we're talking about this real deep, genuine laughter. And actually, there was a study that came out last week that talked about this. That really looked at it has to be real laughter, which is why these silly exercises, they're so silly that it's really hard to avoid. At some point, just say, this is ridiculous. You started to laugh. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Other questions?
There's a question that came in online.
Yes.
If you need some material to laugh at, well, I guess it's more a suggestion. Check out the Baby Shark Heavy Metal video by Slay Doogie. Don't worry, it's clean. So if you guys need
Okay. The Baby Shark Heavy Metal video.
Baby Shark Heavy Metal.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
How do your cheeks not hurt all the time, or have you trained those muscles?
I actually don't laugh as much as I really should. I'm a terribly stressed out person. That's why I do this stuff.
That's why you do this.
Yeah, who I am at home, don't go talk to my kids or anything. They're like, oh, he's terrible. He's grumpy all the time, right? No, when I started, I couldn't really laugh. It's hard to laugh on command. Most of you probably felt that here today, right? It's hard to just start laughing, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It is literally a skill that you can train and get better at. So, it's practice. Okay.
Someone asked, what if you have an ugly laugh?
Oh, those are the best. Those are the best. When we're in a laughter group, people who like snort when they laugh, or people who have just funny laughs, they help so much because then everybody's laughing and it really makes things funny. I mean, we've had at the University of Idaho, where I was before I came here, we had a laughter club. We got together twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday in the Commons, like the TSC, and we would lay in the middle of the Commons and laugh. And everybody thought we were insane. But we had some people with the weirdest laughs, and it was so incredible because even just watching us, you couldn't help but just die laughing. So yeah, there's no such thing as an ugly laugh. You can go online, actually, there's the laughter, what are they called? It used to be called the Skype chain laughter, but there's these laughter videos where they have weird people doing weird laughs, and they are great if you want to just laugh on your own. So yeah. Okay, any last questions? Yeah.
You have evil
No, not really. A little bit. So one of the things with the laughter yoga session is we do silly laughs. So we do animal laughs. We do monkey laughs. Right? And we do evil scientist laughter. I mean, part of it is to generate that sense of playfulness that we train out. As kids, we play. And if we look at the science on play, play is so important to developing social skills, to developing your brain, to developing your creativity. And as we get older, we play less and less. And laughter, again, is a way to stimulate that creativity and that play and to generate some of those hormones, emotions, everything else that, you know, we get as kids, but we train out as adults. So, yeah, it's there. If anyone wants to actually do a full laughter yoga session, let me know. I'd love to do it. I was doing it with the honors program last semester. I'm not doing it with anybody this semester, but if you wanted me to come in and do a full 30-minute session where we do everything and then lay on the floor and laugh, I would be happy to do that. It's awesome. So, okay. I think, are we out of time? I think we are probably pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I genuinely appreciate it. If you want to get in touch with me, I think my phone number, my email's right there, wapit@usu.edu. And thank you all. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. I told you it was good, right? It's really funny. I cry laughing every time. It's hilarious. We did have a question online of the recording of this. So we did record this for the Wellness Expo, the Health and Wellness Expo. So we should have it online on aggiewellness.usu.edu/expo, hopefully by next week. So you can go back, review it, laugh again if you want to learn, you know, all the training and stuff like that. It'll be online again. So that's it.
Right?
We're done. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.